This is a quick video on how I drafted the grown-on sleeves for the scrubs top. So the first job, the green line is the pattern outline that you've got, and the first job is to just trace off the seam allowance so you've got a line that shows that. Actually, the only bits that you need, the critical bits, are that bit there, this bit here. All the rest of it you can ignore. And on your sleeve pattern, this bit at the top of the sleeve and this bit at the bottom. It's nice to have everything else, but you don't really need to be as accurate about that. Those are the critical ones. And then you only need half of your sleeve for this, so you can actually just remove the extra, but you have to remember that that was a fold, so you don't need to do anything about the seam allowance on that. And then you offer these points together, so that at the top needs to overlap at the seam allowance, not where your pattern finishes, but where the seam allowance finishes, and here in the armpit again. They need to match up. And then that is where your location of your sleeve is. Now sometimes you might want to draft down a little bit more of an angle of the shoulder here. If you find that it sticks out pretty much along the same line as the shoulder seam, you can just drop it down a little bit. This one looks pretty good. So the next job to do is to do a curve under the armpit and just continue that down nicely. Now if you do that and your curve comes all the way to your fold line, what you'll need to do is remember that that is your fold line, so it'll need to come back out so that when you folded that over, you've got enough material here, because obviously that's a self-facing pattern piece. So when you've got that and you've got that stuck in place, what you then need to do is redraft in your pattern piece here with the seam allowance, because now your seam is going to go over the top of the shoulder, and then that is going to come down here as it was before, and you're going to give yourself seam allowance here going around the armpit and into that facing as well, so that when you fold it back at that point there, you have enough material to come into the armpit like that. And it's as simple as that. And then when you're sewing the shoulder seam, you sew it all the way over the top to the end here and all the way up underneath. You'll just need, if you're overlocking, you might need to just do a bit of top stitching to reinforce it at that point and at this point when you're turning it over.